Hello and welcome back to this year's first episode of Hitting the Bars. I'm coming back after not being able to speak for a week, so my voice is going to be raspy, but sounding as normal and beautiful as always is Sav. How's it going?
I'm doing great. Welcome back. I'm glad that you feel somewhat rejuvenated. We were going to film and Keltie's voice sounded rough. You sounded like a hobo that'd been smoking out of a tin can.
Literally, it was so bad. Like, I'm not even sick. I just think it was everything. Like, there's so many different people we're meeting and just talking for like 6 to 8 hours a day with people. And then on top of like, I talk for a living, and then it's dry weather, and then I'm drinking and staying up late. And I woke up Monday and I literally, you can probably already hear how bad it is, but I sounded like this. I was like, hi, that's what I couldn't get out words. I was like, how am I supposed to record a pod? But you know what? It was a rough start to the year, and it's only uphill from there. So you know what? That's what I'm telling myself.
Do you drink/work out when you're sick?
No, I definitely don't.
Me either. I didn't know. You just said you've been drinking. I was like, how the heck do you drink when you're sick? Some people do it.
No, true.
I did it in college.
Like the drinking. Well, that's different. We're a different breed then. But the drinking is what I think caused the sickness. You know what I mean? I drank and then woke up. Yeah. So it's part of the reason. I will walk. That's my one thing. When I'm sick, I'll go outside, get some fresh air or yoga. But I won't ever anything get my heart rate up. But some active movement is good, I feel.
Definitely. Also, side note, we're still matching in our nails. We have black French tips. I feel like you got yours redone. I just haven't done mine in over a month.
No, same. Mine are the same ones. They're so grown out.
Let's say we have these literally a month ago, on the dot.
So bad. In my defense, because I'm in Sweden right now, and last time I got my nails done in Sweden, there's usually, you know what, I don't want to be stereotypical, but there's usually a language barrier when you go to a lot of nail salons. But that's like enough, like it's not too bad of it. Like, you know what I mean? There's just like an accent, you're fine. But when you go to Sweden, the language barrier is like they only know a little bit of Swedish. They don't know any English. So us trying to communicate. So I remember the one time I've gone, I go up to the girl and I'm just trying to explain, like, I just want to fill. I want the exact same, this color. And they were like, oh, and we were trying to go back and forth. And after like 5 minutes, they're like, okay, yes, we know what you want. I go, the first thing she does, take out a pair of like clippers, clips off my nail. And I'm like,
oh no.
And like just like cuts it off completely, and they're all my real nails, which I've grown out. No. And in that moment, the look on her face, because I gasped, and she was like, she's like, "This isn't what you wanted." I was like, "No."
That's the most defeating thing is when you work so hard to grow your nails out, and then they either break or they get clipped off, and you're like, "Dang it!" Yeah. Weeks of me not messing with my nail.
Brutal. But how was your break? How are you? Are feeling rejuvenated, ready to take on 2023?
I am and I'm not, in the sense of like, I loved my break. I loved, like this peacefulness of like, for Michael, he's always working. So during this time, he still is working, right? Like he is a founder, CEO. Yeah. So he's like, I'm going to be working, but he gives his employees time off, but he doesn't work as long, or he has more breaks. So I've been loving that. We'd go to breakfasts, we'd go for long walks with Bentley. So I'm selfishly was like, I get to spend more time with Michael. But now I feel a little overwhelmed because I have a lot of travel that was unplanned coming up. I have to go to New York a couple times. I have to go to Seattle and, deal with some sad news. So it was kind of like everything had gotten planned right before my wedding. But I'm really excited for my wedding. It was just like, holy cow, I have so many things to do now in January that like I'm happy to do them. But I also just was like, I wish I wasn't so chaotic right before my wedding, if that makes sense. Like Michael and I have to get legally married. And I don't even think we have time because I'm just going to be gone being with my family, traveling, helping out. So it's like, I have no idea when we'll actually be able to legally get married, because in Cabo in Mexico you can't legally get married there. You have to get married in the States. And where we live in Puerto Rico, there are so many hoops you have to jump through. I was reading it. You have to get like these blood tests. You have to get a physical. I'm like, what?
Whoa.
What?
Intense.
Isn't that weird? So we're just gonna do it. Whenever we go back to some state and just go to a courthouse. But yeah, that's kind of my plans. And I'm excited for everything, but it is just like a lot that I think it was like looming of me of like, okay, your break is ending and now it's go time. Like you're going to be traveling and, you know, helping out with a death in the family and things like that. That's just like not the best thing.
It's a two things is one, and I think I'm guilty of this, is like wedding's a perfect example, but I think this could be a holiday or some special event, your birthday or something you're looking forward to. You romanticize the like week ahead. You're going to enjoy and you're going to feel rejuvenated and ready. You're going to eat well and sleep, and you know that's how everyone thinks their wedding's going to go, but you have life and then you have to plan the wedding and these things happen. So it's just like it's a lot, I'm sure, on your plate of just being like you would ideally like just be able to like flow into it, but you're like, no, I gotta do this and this and this, while also enjoying the moment. Like, and you feel like that's the thing, you feel that pressure of like not enjoying it because you have so much to think about. So but I do understandable that stress.
I know once I get to Cabo, we're going a week early and like all of our family's going, so it'd be nice to see everybody. So I do know that it'll be like once I'm there, I can calm down. I'm not a bridezilla. I am very like, literally if things went south, I'd be like, I don't even care. Like it wouldn't bother me. I just want to have a good time. I think it's just like leading up to it, I just have a lot that I have to put on my plate. But Michael and he's helping me, like he's getting things booked. Last night we sat down, we planned out like where everybody's sitting. We planned out like stationery, like little things that it's, thankfully I splurged on a planner. So like she's been helping and I told her, I said, this is what's going on in my life right now. I'm not going to be present. I need you to take control. And she already knows my style is very like, I don't care. She has like designed this wedding. I don't care. I'm like, it looks pretty. That's all I care about. So she's been like, okay, I understand. I'll take care of the rest for you. So that has been good. But yeah, I am excited. I think it's gonna be so much fun. And I just want to relax and have margaritas with you guys and just have a good time.
Oh, I'm so excited. It'll be so much fun.
Yeah. How was your break?
It was good. It was, I definitely am a classic of every year. And I'm sure a lot of people resonate. If you work for yourself or you're part of a small business or something, you don't really get time off. Your only option is to burn yourself out and do double the work the time before. And so you can actually take it off. And like, but I always do this every year is like, I in my mind, I'm like, okay, you know, like do double, get ahead, and then the time comes off and I have the time off. And I was like, wait, I could squeeze something extra in. And then suddenly I'm doing even more because I did double and then try to do my regular. So it ends up being like no time off. But this year, like that was what I caught myself doing in like the 2 to 3 weeks leading up to it. And I was like, you know what, you can film this extra video and edit this and do all this. And I was like, I'm going to have a Christmas special and this. And suddenly I was like, wait, no, working double to take time off doesn't mean you have free time to work more. It means you just have free time. So like even it sounds as simple, but like I had an extra video plan for December on top of like the dove. So I was like, just post it in January. Like, you know what I mean? And so I did that. Just came to Sweden, just enjoyed time with Megs, went offline, like wasn't on social media. Still had like worked on. I have always envisioned doing this, and I actually didn't do it perfectly because I still had to work a bit, but do like a writing week, and I kind of did that. And like it was not posting on social media, not being on social media. I took 1 week off YouTube. We took a week off the podcast, and I just actually was like, what the hell do I want to do for this year? Do all those writing, do all that, not even like vision boarding, but just like general like planning, reflection, actually write out some bigger creative projects and just be very... I don't know how the exact word, but anyways, I did that. And so now it's just been a nice way to like start the year of just be like realigned with like why I do what I do, especially after the mayhem that is Q4. So I hope everyone had a chance of like, I think that's the nice thing of that last week of the year is you can just kind of like the last month is so chaotic that you forget the direction you're supposed to go. And it's really nice if you can actually take the time to be like, oh yeah, that's what I do. And you're like, I came back, I'm like so excited for YouTube and podcasting and creating music. Like it's just like rejuvenated. And then also got time with my friends and family. So I'm feeling good. Yeah. Feeling good. I'm feeling good. It's nice.
Good. I feel like with the New Year's, there comes this sadness to an extent, like right before it of like, especially if you didn't feel like your year was like up to what you had wished it had been, or you know, like there's or something bad happened in that year, there's this weird sadness. But then like as you go into the new year and as like the days pass a little bit, you're like, oh wait, this is actually a chance for something new. And yeah, it's cliche, and we've talked about it in the previous podcast. Disclaimer, I'm really sorry for my audio in the last podcast, but I don't know, I just think there's something like, it's like death and being reborn again, you know? And I think that's cool. And there's so much that can happen in a year, especially when you switch up like your lifestyle, that like,
oh yeah,
I love that, you know? Like,
yeah,
how far you've come even in life in general in that year, I think is beautiful. And I'm excited to see how people feel about this year.
Yeah, for sure. There's like melancholy. I can never say that word, especially not when I lost my voice. Melancholy. What's that word?
I don't know.
Melancholy. Oh, that's like the perfect word to describe that. Like kind of like.
Are you talking about when
sadness?
Your brain...
But it's kind of.
Oh, melancholy.
Yeah, why can't I?
I don't know. It should be in a Taylor Swift song though.
You know.
Yeah,
I know, but like that, like that's kind of the vibe of the holidays. It's like even in like. Christmas is like so joyful, and it comes, and then right after is this odd silence that you're like, oh, now it's another year till Christmas. But then, like you said, with that, you kind of just got to sit still, be yourself, and like recreate and go the direction you want. And like I know we talked about it, so we'll leave behind the New Year's resolution kind of thing, but just going into the New Year talk. But there is something magical about like a new year. And because it gives you the time to like reflect back. And I did do a lot of that, because at first I was kind of like, I didn't do anything in 2022. Like I had some goals, I achieved some, but I was like, and I reflected back and I was like, oh my God, I did so much in a year.
Totally.
So yeah, I think it's just a nice time for that.
I agree. It's just going to go up from here, right? We're also at a point of our life where like we're full-blown adults. And, you know, do you ever think about that? Where you're like... Like, literally, I look back and I'm like, Michael and I bought a house together. We bought a car. Like, we have a dog that, like, you know, it's just like, we're getting married this year, that I'm like, I am an adult. Like, my parents don't pay for my phone bill anymore. Well, actually, I'm on my mom's phone bill, but I pay her for it. I refuse. This is something my mom's like, please get off my phone bill. I want to go to, like, she has Verizon. She wants to go to, like, T-Mobile. Yeah. And I'm like, no, it's symbolic for me. Like, don't leave me. And so she felt bad, so she didn't, bless her soul. And I literally pay for my phone bill. I pay for everything. She just takes money out of my account, right? Like, I have like this old account from back in high school that I just put money in that she had access to when you were, you know, a minor. Yeah. But it just cracks me up, because I'm like, that's the one thing I still have with my mom is my phone bill. And like, I'm not like the verified owner of it. So it's always such a hassle if I have to get like a new phone or something. But I refuse to let it go. I refuse.
Oh my God. I love it.
I can't be the only one that does that.
You know what? There's probably some others, but it's got to be...
Keltie's like, grow up.
I got kicked off when I was 18, so I can't resonate.
Dang.
Like,
dang.
Just thrown to the wolves at 18 years old. It was like, hopefully you can figure out rent. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, no, that everything else I was thrown into the wild, except my insurance back then and my phone bill.
Nice.
And then once I started having a job, but yeah, no, with the rent, they were like, if you're not going to live here, you need to figure it out. And I was like, okay.
I love it.
So should we jump in? I feel like we have a tangent, but we wanted to make this a little bit of a shorter episode because we think it's going to be fun and get straight to the point. So should we jump into it?
Yeah, we should. Because speaking of thrown to the wild, we're going to make some wild predictions. We have a couple categories. We have 6 categories in the health wellness niche we're in. And we're going to just predict what we think are going to be the biggest trends. Or some of them I'm just going to manifest, maybe not predict. But no, there's some, I got a good sense on the pulse, or whatever they say. So
this is the difference between you and I. You are like, let me really think about this. What do I want to be popular? And I went over here and I said, what are some fitness trends that are coming up? Because I feel like I am so like not in the know half the time. I'm always like a second late to the trend. I'm always like fashion trends when I was growing up. I never hopped on them until they were ending. So I did my research logically, analytically, and you did it through your creativity. That's how I would word it.
Creativity. I would say that. A few I do have a little, they're 50-50. Some I do some research. And yeah, some are just like a feeling. And I will say, I'm pretty good at predicting these things. Like if I
believe that.
Like I don't want to brag. Pilates, I did a video 3 years ago on YouTube. Running 2 years ago. I don't want to brag, but it's like,
oh my God.
Did I start the trend? Or did I predict the trend?
Keltie as a K as in luck. Kardashian.
Exactly. What can I say? Anyways, number one, let's just hop into it. Enough of our jimbo jabble. Nutrition. What do you think is going to be the biggest trend?
Okay. Well, this one I truly just researched because I have no freaking idea. And everyone was saying that butter boards are really popular right now. And this may not be a nutrition thing, but this is just a fun thing I wanted to throw in because I freaking love butter and I love flavored butters. And I was like, I'm going to do this. And so I guess you get like different parts that I don't even know what you put up butter on other than bread, but I guess that's a huge trend right now is instead of the cheese boards. I did see this one girl, they have a podcast. I love them. Oh my gosh, why am I spacing on their podcast name?
Describe it.
It's Girls with Goals. Girls with Goals.
Oh yeah.
I love them. They're two sisters, but they did a yogurt board, and I thought that was actually really cool. So they did Greek yogurt board and just put like a bunch of yummy, like sweet and savory things because I think it was like plain yogurt, which kind of is like there's not a lot of flavor, and then you could do flavored ones. Yeah. But I also was reading that like a big thing this year will be cannabis-infused foods or cocktails, depending on where you are located at, which I thought was fascinating and low-key a little terrifying. And then I also read sweet and spicy will be really popular this year. And that is literally my entire like meal always is sweet and savory, not even spicy. But they were talking about like chili chocolate will be really popular. And like you'll see dishes with, like kind of that contrast where I know this is not necessarily nutrition, but for me, I was like, I think that's fun that there's trends of these types of foods because we always have, what would you say the trend of food was last year? I'd say, the cake. People would put cake in a champagne glass.
Oh, yeah.
TikTokers love that.
I would say truffle and burrata was the trend because that's what every restaurant suddenly had burrata. Everything was just truffle flavored. So that's where I'm like, if I had to say like Aperol Spritz, like that was my rationale of like that's kind of, I was like, what took over food menus. And it was like, if that was on the menu, everyone was like, I need that. So that would be like what I thought 2022 was. And then I guess my prediction, actually, I will stem off the one you said with the cannabis, actually, what I think is going to start happening in the next year or two, because they're already starting to happen, but it's non-alcoholic, like fun beverages. And I'm not talking mocktails, like, because actually my trend, which I'll talk about in a second, was mushrooms. And where that also goes into is like adaptogens. And there's a lot of beverage companies that use a ton of different other things that give you a bit of a buzz without it being alcohol. And there's so many different brands coming up, and they're just in the last like couple of months really getting popular. And they're not granola undergroundy, they're like really chic and posh, and like that's what I think is going to be the big trend. It's not like so much of being sober is this like alcohol, like, you know what I mean? People have gone sober, I think has the stigma of like you have a problem, but I think it's just a lot more people of like choosing alternatives to alcohol, not necessarily just kind of.
They're going to put shrooms and things?
Not necessarily that, like I'll talk about the shrooms in a second, but there's like, there's a lot of things they're using, like reishi. That's already a big thing. Like reishi mushrooms and lion's mane. Like those are like not magic mushrooms. Those are just like mushrooms. Like you can get them in a supplement store. Like I have a reishi tea I have every night before bed because that promotes relaxation. I think lion's mane promotes a bit more of like an uplifting attitude, and like, but just that kind of concept of stuff that gives you a bit like of. So I think of the rationale of like you go to a party, you want to have some fun. You don't just want to have a pop. You want something that gives you a bit of a mood enhancer, but without a buzz, without a hangover. And a lot more of those are being created. So I think that's going to be a big thing in the nutrition world. And where that also goes to is like, I think mushrooms are just getting more and more popular. Like even that, like did you say like mushrooms? Like 3 years ago, everyone's like, oh, magic mushrooms. And now it's a bit more, people know adaptogens, lion's mane, all that. And just without getting like hippy dippy woo woo, there's like just a lot more like science of all that. So I think that's just going to become more and more popular. It's like an alternative to caffeine and alcohol is other things like that. And also I just think like mushrooms, because there's so much like health benefits of the, not magic mushrooms, I don't take that, like literally mushrooms you get in the store and like roast and stuff. And I think they're gonna be a bit more of like a seen as an it food in the next year or two, along with all the like beverages. That's kind of my prediction.
Okay, I think that's fun. Maybe alcohol's going out of style because low-key it is bad for you.
I know. Honestly, I will say after Andrew Huberman dropped that podcast of like the harms of alcohol, I know so many people that have cut significantly back.
Oh, I haven't even listened. I need to listen to that.
You honestly, everyone should listen. It's like, I haven't gotten sober because of it, but it's just kind of, and I never had a problem, but it's just kind of eye-opening. I'm like, ooh, we do drink a poison.
Oh no, it definitely is like just straight up poison. But like,
so like
when you black out, like just like the science behind it is low-key terrifying.
It is.
Yeah, for sure. Michael and I actually like have taken a break just even before the wedding. Like, well, Michael has been for a while. Like when he's in work mode, he doesn't drink, period. But he's actually like really making an effort to just not. Like I'll have a cocktail when a friend's over where he's like, I feel like that it's easy for him. He's like, when he has his mind on something, he's like, no, I'm good. And like for him, he's like, even feels a glass of wine like affects his performance. So he's not even drinking till like our actual wedding. And
oh my God, Megs is exactly like that too.
Really?
So they're so similar. He's very much like, it's good to get away performance. So well. Just honestly, so many times you said stuff and I'm like, yeah, no, that's Megs through and through.
Yeah. And at first I'm like, but like I want to have wine at home, and then like I don't like drinking alone. And then he'll be like, well, I'm sorry, babe, like that's what I'm doing. Like he's just very set on it. And I'm like, okay, I'll do it with you. So now I'm like doing it with him as well. So I kind of like it. It's like that. Just have a LaCroix at night and like then that's like your wine. Like that's like a different flavor for you, or teas, or yeah.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm the same. Like alcohol, I'm just like, I had fun with it in December, but I'm like, I just kind of want a sober-ish January. So I look forward to drinking on your wedding. Yes. That's why I'm like, I'm not saying like I'm doing 30 days sober. I'm just like, unless there's some actually, like I want to be excited to drink. Right now I'm like, it sounds like a chore. So until it sounds exciting, I feel I earned it. I need a beer at the end of a long week. I'm like, just not drinking.
Unpopular opinion maybe, but like, you know how people are like, it's my wedding, I want to drink, I want to get drunk. I do not want to do that. Like I feel like I get so excited in the moment that I almost naturally black out because I'm so excited that I just know if I was to drink, it would just like amplify it, and I'd be like, what the heck, like I'm too excited, I don't remember things. So Michael, like he's like, oh, I plan on drinking, and I'm like, I might have like a couple glasses of champagne throughout the day, but I think I'll just be so high on life that I'm like, nah, I'm good. Which one of my friends, Maddie, she actually did that. She said she didn't even like drink period at her wedding because she just wanted to take it all in. And I'm like, I want everyone to have a good time. I'll drink before it. I'll have a mimosa in the morning. But like I just truly just want to view it all soberly. Yeah. So Michael can do whatever he wants. On our engagement, I didn't even drink, and he was like living his best life. And I was like, get at it, King. Go for it.
Whatever makes you happiest that day. That's all that matters. Exactly. And like, ideally remember it. But so next category, workout trends. Do you have any, what did you find on the interwebs of what's going to be the biggest trend?
According to the interwebs, and this one I did also, just like from what I've noticed, even in us being in the fitness industry, is like people are finally coming around to accepting all forms of workouts. Even if it's not, you know, for a really long time, I would say like, if you didn't lift heavy, if you didn't have, you know, like you're shaking in your videos from like hitting a new PR, you didn't even work out. People were always like, I would always get made fun of so much for me being more dumbbell based, more body weight based, but that's what works for my body, and that's how I learned how to lift. And I feel like people have really come to accepting it and saying, hey, all forms are great as long as you're moving your body, and I love that. So there online, it was like they worded it as a soft era in the sense of like, do more Pilates, do more body workouts if that's what you want. Do more. I mean, I love hybrid exercises. I love compound movements with dumbbells. So for me, I was like, finally, people are accepting this.
Yes.
But yeah, because I don't know, for such a long time, if you didn't have, you know, that typical heavy weightlifting viewpoint, people just wrote you off as you didn't know how to work out. And you're like, what the hell? No, that's not the answer. There's plenty of people that alter their body. I mean, I even think of, I think her name's Steph Williams. Do you know who she is online?
I don't know.
Okay, if anyone listening follows her, she is literally like a stunning woman. I think she owns a couple brands. But we have very similar training styles. So it's like, she's not really big into lifting really heavy. And so she does more hybrid movements, more dumbbell based, maybe a barbell hit type. And she has a banging body. So
I love it.
What do you think yours is?
Well, mine kind of goes along with that same thing, because I felt that even just up as of like 5 years ago, it was kind of deemed in the fitness community online that if you weren't lifting heavy, if you weren't lifting weights, you were giving toxic fitness advice. And that's literally how it was deemed. And like those voices were so loud and so like, we're scientific based and you have to do this. And if you're not lifting heavy and if you're not doing this scientific based and you're not progressive overloading, you're not doing good for the fitness industry. Now, lifting weights, everyone has to. You have to. Like, I don't care. You need some form of resistance training. Doesn't necessarily mean a dumbbell or a barbell, but you need some kind of form just to like starve off bone density loss. Like, it's just a matter of fact. But then like they took it too much to the extreme that it's like if you're promoting Pilates or yoga, it was like bad or useless. But it's like not everyone's goals is to gain as much muscle in the shortest amount of time possible. Like, so with that is... So I'm really glad we're moving away from that. And so we're actually, I think, a big trend, and because I can already kind of see it brewing, and I don't have an exact word for it, but I kind of see this trending on TikTok, is like the term feminine energy. Now, that's very woo-woo, very like, for the idea of feminine energy, not, you know, female, male is a very complicated subject. I don't mean that. It's whatever you choose. But I just mean the classic yin and yang energy kind of thing when I say feminine energy. Just want to reference that. So like, for example, it's like, I think a feminine energy is in like being present versus masculine energy is doing, kind of that kind of yin and yang. And I do think we're just getting out of this like hustle culture boss babe era. And there's nothing wrong with being a powerful, strong woman who owns a business, and like we both do. They're the same. We're really passionate about, but it also, I think we all need balance in our life. And so that also went into with like the weight training. I think everyone was like, we have to weight train, we have to be aggressive, and it's just about getting as much muscle as possible and like not celebrating like other forms of movement. And so now a lot of us are getting Pilates and seeing results, and just like not being so harsh to our bodies. And with that is that whole, like you said soccer. It's funny, I just labeled it as like feminine energy. I think it's just becoming like in tune with your body. And I know this happened to me like almost 3 years ago when I did yoga for the first time. It was just really fun as someone who's an athlete to realize how to work through like flow and feel sensual when I move and really connect with my body in that way. And is that my whole fitness? No, but I think there's going to be a lot more of a push of just that like intuition, playfulness, Pilates, cross training, mobility training, that whole soccer. I like kind of actually calling it soccer, but I think just that is going to be bigger. And right now, I think it's called Pilates because that's the only thing people know that exists now. They know weight training, and the general population knows Pilates. And so that's why I was like, I think we're going to branch into that also means flexibility and dancing and Pilates and just running and playfulness. And I think like that era is kind of coming because we started with hot girl walks and Pilates, and now I think we're going to explore more into that era, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And I feel like you're totally right with people recognizing feminine energy more now. Like, I have also seen that as a trend of people embracing being a woman and having a different flame, a different energy opposed to masculine, because you're totally right. I feel like for a really long time, and this is me just speculation, just me viewing it, was you almost had to seem hard. You had to seem like that boss babe, that masculine energy to get the respect, you know? It's like, I mean, Taylor Swift, I'll forever quote the queen, but she has the song where she basically is like, if I was a man, you know, I would be a hustler. I would be well respected. But if I'm a woman in business, I'm a bitch. Like, I am controlling, you know? So it's like, it's just so interesting how people are finally being like, wait, we can also still have a place in this world and have, you know, a say and be powerful. But also, if you are more feminine, like, you don't want to always have your guard up, you can. Like, you can embrace that side of you as well.
Yeah, I'm really excited just for that era of it just being like women can be powerful without having to like you said, be bitchy. And like, if you're naturally you want to be bitchy, that's fine. But it's just not that like pressure that you have to be hardened. That
if
we
you want to be a
bitch,
go for it. Is what Keltie
be
saying.
A bitch. Like there's some people. That's what I was like. But also at the same time, like, you know what I mean? It's just saying that's just like that you feel. We could do a whole podcast on it. I know I have a couple series planned with it. Like just that concept. I think it's we have that girl. But I think the next transition is going to be like that woman. Because I do think it's ironic that like that girl trend is all typically 18 to 35 year olds. I'm like, shouldn't we celebrate being women, not little girls?
True.
So I do think that, I think like, I don't think there's a word for it. And I've been searching for myself. But I think that girl is going to elevate into, we'll just say that woman for now. But I think we need to find that term, what that is. And I think that will be the next evolution in the fitness, wellness, womanhood of the internet.
Definitely. I love it. Okay. Jumping into our next
Moving on to the next one.
Yeah.
Supplements.
Okay. For me, I did some research on this, but I've also just noticed it in general, is I feel like collagen has gotten really, really popular. Like, even my mother has been doing collagen for the past year. Just puts in her coffee. She has like noticed a difference in her skin as she's getting older, you know? But if you think about it, like I read a study that was like about like 15% of all collagen is like solely used in cosmetics. So it's just interesting because it's like most people take collagen to, you know, help improve skin, hair, joint health. And it's not something that's like annoying to consume as well, because there's a lot of like non-flavored collagen, so you can just like pop it in your coffee. Yeah. So I think that may rise up in 2023, and you might just hear it as a more common thing used in like household items like cosmetic, but also people like to consume collagen as well.
Oh yeah, that's such a big one, because I think it goes in with the clean girl aesthetic, the care on skincare, and I think that one thing is we also realize it's like internally what we eat, and it's just like a lot of, you know, aging and skin problems is loss of collagen. So I think that's, I would agree with that. It's a complicated one. And I'm not saying from an expert, but it's complicated of like just consuming. Once again, I'm not a registered dietitian, but like, it's not concrete that just consuming collagen leads to more collagen production in your body, but collagen is a protein which leads to collagen. So that's a complicated one. But even I just think that whole world, whether there's so many health benefits of collagen, but also that we want to have products that stimulate collagen production. Anyways, I'm not an expert in that. I just think like that, I agree. Like clearly it's something I'm even interested in. And I just think we're going to hear more and more science. Because right now, like the jury's still out about the exact use of collagen, I guess.
Yeah. What is your supplement?
That'd be interesting. So mine, I didn't even really have a word for it, but I do think there's going to be less higher quality, in the sense that like I think what we know as supplements is just like those bland vitamin C pills or calcium you take, and it's just the very like multivitamin you get at Costco, which a lot of the times isn't regulated. It's not the proper doses. There's like, you know what I mean? You're just paying, and you just have this shelf full of supplements that you don't even take half the time. And I just see a lot of brands. I'm going to use AG1 as a great example, because I think they were one of the first to use it. I am affiliated with them. I'm just saying I'm not going to promote it, but it's just like they decided to take a whole bunch of the really best quality supplements and put them into one at a higher price point. You know it's good, you know it's high quality. And even yesterday at like Instagram, I got an ad for this, like it came in this rose gold tin, and it was like it was like a high FDA approved adaptogen. It was actually a collagen in it, and it just had all those like superfood things that seem so inaccessible to the average consumer that we hear about, that are just like the top And that's just becoming more accessible in like higher qualities, if that makes sense. So I think it's just like less of the shitty quality and a bit more of like one or two really high quality chic branding. You know, Array, which is that bloating pill, they're another good example of a brand doing that. That's like nice branding, high quality, simpler ingredients, and actually like that stuff that we thought, like, where are you going to get a mushroom extract, and now that's readily available, or charcoal, or whatever your superfood food. But I think that's the, like, it's no longer your grandma's pill cabinet. It's like chic and cool and actually work. Because I think that's the thing, so many supplements don't work. Like, I think we're getting to the place that now like supplements actually work. Now there's a lot of bogus, but like I think that's where it's going.
Yeah I like that.
Okay, next up, just general wellness. I know it's open-ended, but I was like, you know what, we got to include it.
I like it. Okay, mine was, I did some research on this, and they're predicting this. And I feel like it's also maybe a theme with this podcast as well, but I guess it's called sense hacking. So like essentially tapping into how we feel, like our senses, you know, sight, sound, touch, smell, and taste. And just trying to like focus on being more present and happier with what you have in the moment, and how to like amplify where you're at, the mood, the vibes, natural light, even like putting a candle on, or maybe grounding yourself with like walking barefoot outside, or taking more nature walks and like being present. That was kind of what they're predicting, but I could easily see that, because I feel like a lot of us as humans, we like crave that more grounding experience and that present experience, but we have like averted so far from it with like technology and always being busy and always having to hustle. So I'm like hoping that for 2023 we can all focus more on being present, you know, leaving our phones at home and taking our shoes off, going for a walk, and just like not having our headphones in for once and things like that. What would you say yours was?
Well, this has just become a stroke my ego, because like I said, this is just my predictions. I didn't really dive too much into it. It was just like my own sense of the pulse, and you Googled it. And some of mine are the same, because I said meditation and being present, because my prediction is, you know, meditation, we just think of like the classic, like, you know, sit there 5 minutes, hum. And like it's getting to be a bit more like less like just even like yoga used to be like that. It used to be very spiritual, and now it's kind of general practice, a bit more attainable to the average person. I think meditation is coming to that. It's going to be just part of your mental health practice. Just like weight training is part of your fitness, meditation is going to become that. It's less like woo-woo and a bit more of just like you need this for your well-being. And that leads into, because pretty much what meditation does is teaches you to be present. And I think that's going to be the biggest thing of like people stepping away from, and I say this, and I think this will resonate with some people and not others. I do think people are getting more and more sick of social media. Like even people's use, so like TikTok is the best example. It's like so addictive, and so many people are like, I need a break from it, and just like actually taking breaks. And whether it be you only choose to consume one or two apps that, and like Pinterest is usually a safe place for me. I get bored of it after 20 minutes, but it's really inspiring. Versus like TikTok, I can be gone for like 3 hours. So I think it's just a bit more, people won't be so consumed with social media, and they'd rather be present in their real day-to-day. And actually, like, that's what I hope. As I said, am I slightly manifesting this, but mostly just hoping that that's the case. And we just want, after being away, like we've just stared at each other through phones for so long. Totally. I just think people, this summer was the first like normal summer, but I think now we're just like, no, I'm like over looking at my phone, and just not being like, you don't have to be on every social media and all this. Like people, I think we're sick of it. I think we all are just like, I've seen this 100 times. Yeah. Like I'm kind of over social media.
I think maybe we got overstimulated. We got excited because we are like the really first generation of everyone being able to use social media and see what everyone's doing. And Michael and I were just talking about this the other day, was how crazy to be in the 80s, even the 90s, like, and you don't know what anyone else is doing with their life except the ones you pick up a phone and you give a call to, right? Like now crazy. If I'm curious, I can look up a person, Susie from high school, you know, what the heck she's doing. I just Google her. I go on Facebook. So there's something like beautiful about that time where you truly didn't know, there's a Sam Hunt song that I freaking love called Breaking Up in the 90s. And it's like him saying,
I know the one,
yeah, like I wish we were breaking up in the 90s essentially, because then I wouldn't have to see what you're doing all the time. I wouldn't have to see you with a new guy on your Facebook or Instagram, and nobody would know we even broke up. And like I think that's even the hardest part sometimes, is like having to face everybody, and like everyone's been there where you see somebody like all of a sudden not posting their significant other, and you're like, wait, what the heck? And then you do the sleuthing and you look down and you're like, oh, they broke up. And like there's something so vulnerable and revealing about that for that person. Yeah. So I just love that song because it's so simple, and like it's truly just like, you just don't know what anyone else is doing. There's no comparison. I mean, you have comparison with who you're with, nice. but different. It's just easier. Yeah, definitely.
Oh, I love that.
But then again, we wouldn't have a job.
Oh, yeah.
So
our
I'm
jobs
also
would
thankful.
just be different. Our jobs would be different.
Would it be? I am. How would you be a YouTuber without YouTube, ma'am?
TV. I would just try and be on TV.
Do you really think you would have done that?
TV, or like I would just been like DJing like music videos. Like I would just been like, that would have been what I was going for. Did I make it? Exactly. Like that's MTV what I would have been. Yeah, something like that. I would have been. Would I have made it? I don't know, but that's what I've been trying to do.
yeah, totally.
But so actually, I'm just gonna hijack and answer mine first, because it's a nice little transition of what we were just talking about. Because I think just taking that into account is the next step category was workout fashion. And what I'm getting at with this is, I think because we're so burnt out of being overstimulated and seeing so much in consumption. And I say this as someone who identifies in like the minimalist category, so I am biased, but I do think we are going to go back to basics and foundational pieces and investing in those, and then just having a few fun pieces versus trying to always have the hottest, newest item that just dropped, because by the time you get it, it's already out of style. Like TikTok, the consumption we all had over the last 2-3 years, especially because of TikTok, of like new it items has been exhausting. Of like, this color's in and this type of leggings in and we need this and this is sold out, and it's just like always trying to be on the head. And I don't blame anyone, because we literally had nothing else to do. You know what I mean? But shop and post about it online. So like, I'm not like feeling, but I think we all similarly feel that exhaustion of like having that overwhelm of like, I own so much, but I have nothing to wear. And I think that's the biggest thing. And even like myself, that's what I felt about 5 years ago. And I started building my capsule wardrobe, and like everyone else, March 2020 happened. And I was like, well, I'm going to build a capsule wardrobe. Like do I invest in sweatpants? Like, you know what I mean? So I threw that out the door. And even myself, I'm like, no, I'm just trying to, right now, my goal is to like own 4 really high quality sweaters, or like 4 matching workout sets, and just like have it that every day I look put together, they're good quality, they feel good on, versus having 100 different colors and all that. So I think we're really going to turn down in terms of like, I don't think minimalism is going to come back, because I think minimalism was toxic. Like it got to the point of like, you can own 2 pairs of leggings and 1 fork. I was like, no one can live like that. Do you know what I mean? Like at end of the day, I like fashion. Like I like fashion, but I think it'll be like part-time minimalism. I don't have a word for it, but I think that will be how like workout fashion's gonna appear. What do you think?
Okay. Mine is completely opposite of you. And this was solely off of the interweb. Okay. So
interesting. Let's hear.
Everyone is saying on these trends that they think fun patterns are going to come back, and colors, because they're like, oh, inject a little bit of life into your workout, or boost your mood with like a dopamine dressing is their whole thing. And
I don't believe this.
I can see your point of view, but I can also see this point of view, because I am opposite of you. I love funky things, and like I don't like wearing black to the gym. I hate it. Like I want to like have a fun hot pink. I want to feel fun when I walk out, and I want to feel like I'm excited, and like muted colors do not excite me. Could just be me. But when I read this, I was like, okay, I'm here for it. And like I even noticed.
So, can I
wait, let me finish. I noticed yesterday a girl.
Okay, please do.
There was a ton of girls that were like out at the gym, and they're all wearing like Alo Yoga, Lululemon, like super minimalistic, super like everybody has these pieces, okay? This one girl was wearing this beautiful light blue set. And it was something that reminded me of like this one set I was obsessed with from Gymshark years ago before I was even an athlete. But like it was stunning on her. And she just was like this pop of color and pop of like, I just loved it at the gym because I feel like I see so many people wear the same fucking things at the gym. And I thought she looked fantastic and it brightened my day even to see a fun color in her rocking it. So that's my take. But what are you excited about? Like what were you going to say?
I guess because this is just like, I think this argument right here, this very sticking point is what I'm trying to get across. And this is what I really hope people bring into 2022, because this is like where my chasm. Minimalism doesn't mean muted. Minimalism means buying high quality pieces that you are obsessed to wear every single day. And so like, I think that's why minimalism got such a bad rap, because minimalism in like, we'll just use workout clothing just for that just meant you got 2 sports bras, you got a black and a white one, and that was it. I was like, no, if black and white is your style, but what happened if you just like color, you hate muted, you should have a pink sports bra, you should have a blue sports bra and a green one, and every day you pick that. And that's the point. It's like high quality items that everything in your closet you wear. And that's kind of the point. And like everything's quality pieces, and it reflects your style, not just like this is a new in fast fashion thing I bought. So even like, for example, I always said with a curated closet, I always recommend, I'm like, you do need a black set, maybe a white set, but then pick 2 or 3 of your like favorite colors that go well together. And then like, and so for me, for example, one's a baby blue, a green, and then like I like oranges and stuff like that. And so I just try to buy those colors, and then my whole closet goes together. And so like that's where I hope, that's why I say like part-time minimalism is like exactly like that. Doesn't mean for you would be a perfect example. I was like, you shouldn't be in black. Like I love when you're in pink and blues and pretty purples, and like you can see you radiate. And that's the point. Like you put on clothes and you radiate. It's not just like, I bought this because this was in, and this color is the new it color. It's just like actually, and that's where like style versus fast fashion comes into play. And actually like every person creating their own unique style and like investing in that. And that's where I'm hoping it goes.
Yeah. I also sadly, as much as I think we need, and we always say this, get away from fast fashion, get away. Nobody ever gets away from it. Yeah. It's like there's always going to be a demographic for that. There's always going to be those people, no matter the age, no matter how they consume it, that are going to want those trends. Like it's impossible to go against the fashion industry with that, as sad as it is, because every year we say it. And then there's always fast fashion that comes back, right?
Yeah. It just comes down to, but that's like,
but I agree.
I would argue saying,
Well, I just think it'd be great to be part-time minimalist in the sense of like, try your part a little bit, even to just like you said, have the higher quality, because when you do have those fast fashion, they tend to like break within a freaking month or whatever. You might as well invest. Like I even think of like this North Face vest my family got me in high school, and I still wear it to this day when I'm in somewhere cold.
Perfect example.
That's like, it was expensive, but it was like, it's 10 years later, and I still wear it, and it's still relevant.
Yeah. I love that. See, that's what I mean. Just like, does your whole closet have to be that? No. But just like, try to get a bit more of that. Just try to be mindful of like, when you purchase something, where does it fit in your overall outfit of that? Like I said, and like it sucks, but it's also like, you know, just because there's fast food in the world taking over, we should still try and eat healthy. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to be perfect with it every day. You're not just going to eat a salad. You're going to eat cake. But it's just kind of like a mindful. That's why I say part-time minimalism. And I think that's would be a nicely thing. My friend Joe, he has a company. It's called Less Shitty. Just be a little less shitty. You don't have to be perfect. Just be less shitty. Isn't that great?
Yeah. I love that.
Plug it.
Nice motto.
Let's
Did he trademark that?
Oh, he has like a full clothing brand.
Wow. I was like, no one else said
sustainable.
That. Good for him.
No, he's got a full, if you want to see chic branding, he's nailed it. He's the one I told you, TikTok famous. Joe Lee.
Weren't you going to have him on the podcast?
Yeah, maybe we will. Okay, and then I guess I was like, did you answer? And I was like, yes, you did. I did. Okay.
I went against
We got one last one. I know.
But then again, I didn't, because you explained it. And you said it wasn't just muted colors.
We needed that. Exactly. No muted colors. If you're just in black and white all the time, I'm just going to know you're asking for help. You've been kidnapped.
Or you just like that. Like you like those colors.
I was like, I do love a muted. I just love a minimalist look. You know what I mean? It's just, oh, I love it. I love it. That's why I'm in love with the Swede. That's Scandinavian minimalism.
Yeah, true.
Okay, wrapping it up. Skincare / beauty. Do you got any trends there?
Okay, so I was reading this, and I definitely agree with this because you and I both do this. And it is prevention rather than the cure. So, like, I mean, I think that's pretty self-explanatory. But, like, doing more aesthetic treatments in your 20s and 30s just to, like, subtly prevent aging. And if you think about it, like, I've talked to my mom about this before, and she's like, you guys have access to, like, facials, and you have access to this amazing skincare, and you know about sunscreen. She was like, I didn't wear sunscreen growing up. Like, I didn't even have sunscreen. So it's like we have so much at our fingertips that if we just, like, do our own research, and everyone has their own thing. Some people don't even like skincare. I don't even really care for skincare that much, but I know my like 4 top things I do every night, every morning. So really, I think this is, like, always really a trend now, but people are just getting more educated on prevention and not judging people as much if they want to get something to prevent aging, right?
I love that. I love that.
What's yours?
That actually leads into mine, and I kind of have a bonus one, but I do think, like, it's also the end of, like, the maximalist era, just like we were saying with fashion. I do think that comes with plastic surgery, as am I biased because I'm someone who got their boobs out. Yes. Am I saying plastic surgery and cosmetics procedures are going on? I was like, no. I just think it's, like, the extremism of it, like whether it be the BBL or massive, whatever it is. I'm not going to pick apart because every person's different. It's not that we're going to look back or anyone's got that is bad. I just think it'll just be less likely of people wanting it obvious. I think people want it more, like, subtle. Just like even, like, you would be a great example. I will say just like a subtle lift in the boobs or a subtle facelift or a little bit in the lips or it'll be a lot more of that, like almost to the point of, like, unrecognizable, versus the last couple of years it's been, like, just bigger and better, and that's kind of the rationale. So I think it'll be a bit more of a not definitely as extreme look, but not that it's ever, and that's one of the things, everyone's different. Whatever works for you is all that matters, as long as you're happy. And also, I'm just going to throw in a bonus because that's kind of a theme. Maybe this is just my Instagram face massaging, like the gua, or, you know, like with the stone
gouache.
That's
Guasha?
all. Yeah, gouache. Gouache. Yeah, that's it. That's all my Instagram reels are. And, like, I don't know if that, maybe it's just me, but I was like, I think that's going to be, like,
but I do like
like, I think the whole, I know, but that's, I think in that realm of just, like, skincare is, you know, making it an enjoyable part of your day, massage your face, taking the time to yourself. I think it goes into that realm, but I do think the face massage, that kind of thing is going to be big. Or maybe that's just my Instagram reels.
I also think that there's a lot of celebrities or people up and coming in TikToks or, like, influencers in general that are more natural, that I think even the younger age, like, I think about when we were growing up, like, there's all the Disney girls, Kardashians are always relevant, and they were getting these enhancements, right? And, like, now we have influencers like Anna Starr. That girl, beautiful naturally, loves her body, makes a joke that she, like, never grew boobs, and she's okay with it, right? Like, still stunning. Where before it was like, think of even Demi getting her gap filled when we were younger, you know, little things like that. Or Selena's documentary where she was like, my body looks like a little boy because I don't have boobs, I don't have a butt. So I like now that, like, there are these influences of even, like, Emma Chamberlain, Billie Eilish, like, people that are very much, like, body positivity and, like, promote their own natural beauty. That I think there's something really beautiful about that, because I wish when I was growing up, when I was in college, when I was in high school, I had those, because we just didn't. It was like everyone was so polished. Even think of, like, Pretty Little, we didn't have influencers in general. So think of, like, we consumed things like Pretty Little Liars. They were, like, picture perfect on that show. Everything was picture perfect. Where now you can actually, like, watch people's real, raw lives. And, like, I just think there's something beautiful about that.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's a perfect way. I think that will hopefully be the trend. It's not necessarily, like, natural, but just what makes you unique. Because I think natural is an aesthetic in itself. But, like, whatever it is that makes, celebrate your body type, your skin type, your hair, like whether it be not wearing fake tan or not getting plastic surgery or not dyeing your hair or, you know, whatever it is, just like embracing that, like, it's not a flaw that you have this wrinkle here. And
Totally.
I'm hoping, let's just leave it at that, manifesting that we all just love ourselves a bit more this year.
I love that.
And not even love ourselves, like celebrate ourselves, our uniqueness. I think that's good.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
All right, ladies, should we wrap it up?
Let's wrap it up.
All right.
Because
What were you going to say? Your camera's dying?
Yep. Sorry.
Knew it. Well, everybody, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for bearing with us in the past 2 podcasts where my audio was horrible. We're very happy to have a new, fresh season of the podcast and this year. And Keltie and I hope to, at least my goal for this year is to have one meetup where we can shoot a podcast with some people that like to hang and listen to us. But don't forget to leave a review. Go check out our Instagram. And yeah, shoot over a DM if you have, like, you know, any questions, if you want any advice or just a funny story. We'd love to hear it.
That'd be amazing. So till next week.
All
Talk
right.
to you guys.
Bye.